Hello brothers and friends, this is JB Goll, the Director of Chapter Services for Phi Gamma Delta, and I'm bringing you the January 2013 Friday Letter video blog. It's a pretty cool day here in Lexington. We've been in the teens all week, but hopefully it will be warming up. Fortunately, I'm literally a few minutes away from getting on a plane and heading down to Fort Lauderdale for the Archons meeting this weekend in Florida, so looking forward to some of those warmer temperatures. As many of you know, and as many of you were there, we had a very successful Fiji Academy earlier this month. We had just over 600 brothers, both undergraduate and graduate brothers, and a few guests in St. Louis for the 38th Fiji Academy. The Fiji Academy just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and we look forward to our next Fiji Academy, which will be the 39th Fiji Academy. Again, will be in St. Louis at the DoubleTree, which is our new host hotel. A couple things I wanted to update you about. We always talk a lot about pledging numbers, initiation numbers, and as of earlier this week, throughout this year, we've pledged 2,127 brothers, and so we're about 60% to our goal. Remember, our goal for this year is 3,500 brothers, or pledges that we want pledged into the fraternity. We've also, as of earlier this week, initiated 874 men. We know it's just after the first of the year, after grades have gotten back, so a lot of chapters have done initiations in the last few weeks. We'll be doing it in the next couple weeks. So remember, it's important to get those initiations reported to the fraternity right away. Remember to do that. You go on to phigam.org and to the chapter manager console. A chapter officer has to do that to report those initiations. Also, some dates that I want to keep you informed of. Again, the Archons meeting will be this weekend in Fort Lauderdale. If you want to know what's kind of going on at that meeting, you can follow the fraternity's Twitter account, which is @PhiGamHQ. I'll be posting occasional comments or new developments that are going on throughout the weekend at the Archons meeting. Also, January, February, and March is the time where a lot of states or sections have their section days. Sometimes if there are a lot of chapters in one particular state or region, they have what is even called a state day. Probably the oldest state day or section convention we have in the fraternity is the Indiana State Day, which will be held on February 9th. And the Ohio State Day, not to be confused with The Ohio State University, but the Ohio State Day for all the chapters in Ohio and even some surrounding states will be February 23rd. And really, another really exciting thing that will happen will be our first chartering of the spring semester, and we will charter at Indiana State University on February 15th to 17th. So that will be rechartering our Iota Sigma chapter in Terre Haute, Indiana. Interestingly enough, in Terre Haute, not really a huge town, but we have two chapters there at Rose-Hulman and at Indiana State. So kind of an uncommon thing, but we're lucky enough to have two great chapters there in the fraternity. And finally, the Fraternity Awards program is about to get started again. We will release the awards. It will be an electronic submission. We'll release those on Friday, February 1st. So that will be the first day the awards will be available online. Chapter officers will get an email informing you how to fill those out and where the links are due. We'll extend the deadline. It will be due April 1st is a Monday. This is not an April Fool's joke, but April 1st is a Monday. Those awards will be due at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time on April 1st. So you'll have just a day over 2 months to complete the awards and turn those back into the fraternity. So that's the update from headquarters for January. Hope that you all have had a great month so far. Back to school. Our grades are starting to come in for the fall semester. Again, it looks like they're on par to keep our streak of being above a 3.0 on course. So we hope that you and your chapter have done your part, and we look forward to seeing you again here in February. Have a great month, brothers.